Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Today I'm going to answer a very important question that crosses the minds of any examinee once, at least once through his lifetime. Now, how to be an effective learner, how to just not read, but to take the learning to an effective way, how to maximize the output of your efforts. So I'll be taking up this topic today and I shall be showing you exactly how to learn the various topics that you encounter, which will help you in acing any competitive exam there is anytime. So let us begin. I shall start with what I call the 5 I's of learning. The first I stands for interval. Interval means you need to space out your studies. The next I is to interpret. You should know what you're reading, you should know what you're learning. The third I stands for integrate. Integrate means whichever thing you're reading, that should have some connection with your surroundings, that should have some connection with what you already know and what you would be learning at a later point of time. The fourth I is implement. This is basically practicing what you preach. The next I is to iterate. That is to repeat of learning which you just performed. Now I shall go into all of these I's one by one and will tell you exactly how to maneuver these I's and how to implement these I's into your daily learning. The first I is interval. The first thing that you should know is that you should have a plan. We all know the importance of timetables. We all have made timetables at some point of time or the other, but usually we fail to adhere to them. Now, this step is particularly important because you need to have a set of plan that will help you execute your learning in a specified time period. Now, you may be preparing for a particular exam that is scheduled at a time t, and currently you are at a time 0. So, from going to 0 to t, you need to have a plan in which you shall finish your syllabus, your study course, which will help you to clear the exam. So, this particular step, planning, is of ultimate importance, and you should devote a good amount of time in creating a plan that is suited according to your personal needs. Next comes micro planning. What exactly do we mean by micro planning? You all must have noticed that when you're creating timetables, you create an overview of the table. Like, I'll complete a particular subject in this month, next month I'll move on to this subject, and so on. That is planning. But you need to go one step ahead and you need to micro plan. You are exactly telling yourself what are the exact practical things that you will execute in a particular time. So, say you devoted subject A the month of, say, June. You will complete subject A in June, but how exactly are you going to do it? That is called as micro planning. You will divide the subject A into a set of defined topics that you can cover in a particular amount of time, and then you will say, I'll take some 1 week to complete a particular topic. Then maybe the two other topics are relatively easy, so they can be done together in 1 week, and the third week I'll utilize for this topic, the fourth week I'll keep for revision. This is how you micro plan. You take things to the ground level and then you decide what exactly you're going to do. One moment of caution that I would like to stress upon here is that sometimes extensive planning is injurious. Why is it so? Because you might end up making such an elaborate plan that ultimately you fail to adhere to it. That should not be the case. You should allow yourselves liberal moments of relaxation to help you get through the exam time. The third point is adequate spacing. Whenever you're studying, you should know that you cannot become a master of a particular subject in one day. That is the crux of adequate spacing. Whatever you want to study, space it out in time well so that you can take up small portions of it at one point of time. Say, I'll give you an example. Say you want to study electrolyte imbalances and ABG. Now, if you want to do that, what you can do is you decide that, okay, I'll be studying sodium and chloride imbalances in one day, and I'll also learn how to manage these electrolyte imbalances. The next day I'll take up potassium, and the third day I'll read about ABG and how to interpret ABG. Now, the you should realize one thing, that the whole day you're not reading just about hypo and hypernatremias. You're also reading some other topic from some other subject. Now, effectively, what you're doing is you're spacing out a topic so that you do not become overwhelmed with it. Now, this applies for any other subject that you might have. If you take everything at once, you will definitely become overwhelmed, and you will not know that topic in adequate depth. So adequate spacing is required so that you gain the right amount of information from the subject. Going to the second I, that is interpret. What do we mean by interpret? Whenever you're reading something, always ask two questions: how and why. Now, based on a particular question, you can include other questions like where, when. This all depends on what the first question is, but you should ask yourselves these questions. If I'm reading, say, hyponatremia, then you can easily ask yourself why hyponatremia is occurring in the first place, why is it occurring, where is it occurring, and how do I manage it. When you start asking yourself these kind of questions, then you begin analyzing the topic in a greater depth. If you simply read the topic hyponatremia in a monotonous way, that is not going to give you anything. But if you make it interesting by asking yourself questions out of it, then you start learning new things. Second thing is to have examples. Always have your own examples. You might see in any standard textbook, any concept is explained with some examples. What are those examples for? They are to show you how a particular concept can be applied into a real life situation. Now you need to do the same thing for yourself. Don't go by the examples that are already given. Try and get your own examples, because when you're creating an example out of a concept you just studied, you're actually implementing it. So learn by examples. See the things around you and how they can be used as an example for what you just learned. The third thing and the most important thing is to create a gist. Whenever you're reading a particular topic, you should always have your own gist out of it. You should always have your own summary. You should always have your own takeaway points from it. Suppose you're reading a topic about analysis of arterial blood gases. In the end, when you finish reading the topic, when you finish learning the important points, you should have a gist of it ready with you, so that if somebody asks you what exactly is ABG analysis, I do not know anything about ABG analysis, tell me something. So you should be able to tell this topic of ABG analysis to that person in a gist. When you're able to prepare a correct gist, that means you've understood the topic correctly. So as Albert Einstein said, if you're not able to explain it simply enough, then you're not studied it well enough. So remember, always whenever you finish going through a topic, learn to prepare a gist out of it. Learn to prepare the takeaway message from that topic. The next I is to integrate. Whatever you're studying has got several correlations, and you need to correlate the topic to other such topics. Like, for example, if you're reading something in medicine, that medicine topic will definitely have certain correlations in pharma, that will definitely have some correlations in pathology, and some correlations in, say, maybe biochemistry. So you need to establish these correlations. Once you start building correlations, you learn the entire topic as a unit, and not only as medicine, pharma, and pathology. The aim of a good study is to have an integrated learning where you combine the knowledge of all 19 subjects to know a particular topic. That is the ideal scenario of learning. So you should always correlate whenever you're studying a particular thing. The next topic is to use visuals. When you're integrating your stuff, you should always use visuals. Visuals can be in the form of images that you see, they can be in the form of figures that you draw, maybe in the form of flowcharts or tables. Any visual that supplements your basic knowledge source will help you in retaining that information better. You can draw these flowcharts yourself, you can draw tables, you can draw figures, you can draw algorithms in order to understand a particular topic better. The third thing is to create webs. This is the ultimate purpose of integrating. Webs, by webs, I'm naming Gentleman syndrome. As soon as I say the word gentleman syndrome, you should have a set of webs that will give you all the information about gentleman syndrome. You should know the medicine aspect of it. You should know the physiology aspect of it. You should know the biochemical aspect of it. You should know the anatomic aspect of it. You should know the surgical aspect of it. Any topic, you should know everything there is to know about it from all the 19 subjects. So your brain should have these webs for any particular topic and any correlation, however small, with any other topic that it might have. So once you start creating these webs, you'll gradually realize that information will automatically come to you as soon as you see a particular topic. The other thing is that external cues will also help in building these webs. Like, say you find common salt in your home, that should immediately lead you to thinking that, okay, this is common salt. I should be knowing about conditions that lead to hypo and hypernatremias. I should also know about the management of hypo and hypernatremias. What are the algorithms that have to be followed? When an ACL comes into view, I should also be knowing about ORS. What is the composition of ORS? What are the different types of ORS that are available? When you're going out through the road, you will often see signboards of various hospitals that offer emergency services to stroke patients, to cardiac arrest patients. Whenever you see one such billboard offering ambulance services, that should immediately prompt you to thinking about stroke. What is the time interval in which the patient has to be admitted in the hospital for an intervention procedure? You need to know about cardiac arrest. What is the pathophysiology behind cardiac arrest? What are the changes? What are the pathologic changes that are happening in cardiac arrest? What is the management algorithm of cardiac arrest? Trust me, when you repeat this kind of integration, when you repeat this kind of making webs with external and internal cues, you'll gradually have an information database that will stay for life. You will have various set of information points in your brain that ultimately, when once in an exam, when you get a question on cardiac arrest, everything will come to you like information that is well organized, and then you will be able to answer any question coming from a particular topic. So do practice this whenever, in whichever environment you are. Always practice this. The next step is to implement. Ultimately, anything that you're reading, anything you're learning, has to be brought into practice, because that is the ultimate purpose. So for practice, you need to have an idea about the kind of questions that you will be facing in your final exam. This idea you can get about by practicing the old questions. This idea you can also get about by taking some kind of test series, some kind of mock tests, by asking a friend of yours to question you. Any kind of practice that gives you a practical perspective on the exam that you're going to finally appear for. The very important thing in implementation is to learn how to improvise, and this will come only when you learn how to practice. Post any exam, there are certain set of questions that are regarded as difficult. Now, the difficult questions mainly are termed difficult because of two reasons. One, those questions are from a damn new topic, nobody knew about it, they were not expected to come, but somehow they came. Okay, difficult, agreed. The second set of questions that are perceived as difficult are actually questions that have already been asked in one way or the other, but the examiner this time decided to modify the question and ask it in a different way. 90% of people will get confused just because the question is asked in a different way from the same old topic. This is where improvisation comes in. When you're practicing on how to give exams, on how to give tests, you should learn how to improvise. No question will be repeated time and again in the same exam. Question will come in different formats, and this you need to realize right at this step. You need to learn how to improve your technique on answering the question. You need to know that a question can be asked 100 different ways, and the third step, that you should be able to predict those 100 different ways a question can be asked. And at the same time, you should know on how to answer the questions if it is slightly twisted, or if the options are slightly modified, anything. You should be able to predict any improvisations in the question, and you should learn also how to improvise yourself. Another important thing is, and this is the highest order of learning, where after studying and after practicing a particular topic, you're able to predict the future questions that can come. because then you get to know the inside of the examiner's mind, and you know where exactly he's heading, and you're able to pinpoint which question will he be asking in the next exam. So that is perhaps the highest order of learning, and that order of learning I want all of you to achieve by going through these 5 I's. The next I, and maybe the most repeated I in the world, anyone you go to on how to study will tell you about this I. This I is to iterate. Iterate meaning to repeat. To repeat what you've already learned. But remember, repetition is not a monotonous process. Most of us lack in this point that we consider revision as rereading. Trust me, revision is far from rereading. You need to improve with each time you read a particular topic. You should note that there should be a definite improvement in you. There should be progress. Each time you read a particular topic, you should be curious enough to identify new areas and new questions which you missed in your earlier revision. You should always be one step ahead of your last revision. The third thing is always do a SWOT analysis at the time of your revisions. The purpose of the revision and of that of practice is to know your strengths, is to identify your weaknesses, is to know your opportunities, and to eliminate your threats. Always do a SWOT analysis of whichever subject or whichever topic you're reading on. Identify your strengths and maintain them. Minimize your weaknesses and convert them into strengths. Know your opportunities where you can score against your competitors and eliminate your threats. This is the ultimate purpose of revising and re-revising. Each iteration should make a better version of you. That is the ultimate purpose. I've just drawn a set of revision curves that will help you understand the importance of revision and how to go about it. So if you see, this line shows you the point, and this is day 0 when you just started studying a particular subject. So you are at 100%, your attention is 100% on that day, and then it gradually falls. As you can see here, it is gradually falling, and by day 30 you almost know nothing about the topic provided you do not read it again. Now if you revise this particular topic on day 1 again, okay, so you revise this topic and again you brought it to 100%. Remember, this curve will also continue to fall, albeit with a different rate. So again on day 7 you again decided to revise this topic again, and you again brought it to 100%. The same thing you did on day 15, and again you brought the topic to 100%. Again you repeated it on day 30 and brought the topic to the same old 100%. So now you see, you revised what you studied on day 1, on day 7, on day 15, and on day 30 of your original reading date. Eventually what you achieved is having the straight line that is 100% or close to 100% retention even on day 30. By this figure, I want you to understand the importance of revisions, and moreover the importance of timed revisions. On how should you space out revisions so that the information is retained close to 100%. So whenever you're making a schedule, you should always include revision timings for that, and you should plan them out in such a way that your information always stays along with this arrow. So this was all about the 5 I's of studying effectively. I hope you liked it, I hope you understood it, and I hope you can implement it on your day-to-day basis so that you'll become a much effective learner and you'll be able to crack any competitive exam out there. So I wish you all the best. If you did like this video, do like, share, and you can always subscribe to my channel right here. And I wish you all the best. Thank you.